are alive in purpose, in compassion, in love. And even though a veil separates you from all of that, you can still feel it. Perhaps you can see it and feel it in my words. I was never a human. I am not necessarily a single entity, if you want to even say the word. I'm a voice from home, representing trillions and trillions of what you would call souls of God. God is bigger than you think, different than you think, more loving than you know, and far, far beyond that which is called human consciousness. God does not do human things. God does not have reactions to human things. There are no disputes in heaven with God. Only the compassion and the love that is as pure as anything you can conjure up, so that we can give you messages that are benevolent, kind, loving, and empowering. That's who God is. That's the kind of messages I bring. And I wanted to qualify that, if I never had before, of the purpose of channeling and what it's about. Never is it presented to conjure up a following. Never. It's just information for those who want to hear the truth of the beauty that surpasses any understanding of any human being. It's bigger than you know. I set up a pretense, a question. And the question is this: do you believe it's reasonable that as the energy and the system and what is old and what is new, as it shifts into a new paradigm, is it reasonable that the attributes would also change of anything that used to be? And if you are agreement to that, then you will not find this message controversial. You will welcome it and know that it's real. But there are those who will say God is always God, the systems are always the same, the reaction with humanity is always the same. Things that have been the same for 1,000 years will be therefore the same for the next 1,000, no matter what you do. And for those, you should close your ears to what's coming, because you won't like it. The beauty of this message, dear ones, is that the very intrinsic system, if you want to call it, of human spirituality that you have become used to is starting to change. We have concentrated almost exclusively on your change in consciousness, in DNA, your higher self, relation to God, all of these things. We've not really talked much about anything else until now. It has to make sense to you that in an older energy, things were one way. In a new energy, they begin to change. Perhaps one of the most stable things, and yet the most misunderstood, is the human Akash. It's stable in that you are aware of it. Let us again define it. Let's look at it together. The Akash is the energy of what has been. In the times that you have been on earth, which we would call your expressions of energy, you call them past lives. To you, life is everything. To us, we see life as passing. One to another to another. We see you in transition constantly. We always see you in transition. We see the soul which is you as ancient, and we also see it as forever. We see the potentials of your next life, all of you. It is your choice on this side of the veil, what you do, how you do it, but it's part of a system with the others who are also looking at the same thing. We never see a life. We see a system. In this, I say to you, especially those who have lost loved ones recently, that there is no death. You move from one system to another, from one paradigm to another. And the very essence, the personality, the soul, the beauty, the love, the compassion, all that you think is gone and lost isn't. It isn't. It's all still there. And the beauty of the system is that some of it passes to you, if you want to believe it or not. And others, part of the system goes literally into the veil of the earth. And it's complicated. Those human beings you think you've lost are still here in so many ways. And so are you in your past expressions. The complexity of the human system is far beyond anything that you've been told. Listen to me. Every life expression you've ever had, part of your soul, goes into the planet and the grid when you leave and stays here. How does that make you feel to know that you're part of the dirt of the earth? That's part of the grid that starts to work with other human beings. Your wisdom and what you've learned stays here and works with your next incarnation. Don't be shocked and surprised when you walk into the forest and you feel family and you say, this is the greatest thing I ever felt, and you had no idea. You're feeling you. No wonder it feels good. What a system. But then there's the Akash. The Akash supposedly is an energetic record of what you've done. It is not organized in a linear fashion, and yet you want it to be. You want to then have a past life reader tell you who you've been and what happened, and the reader knows that all they're getting is a smattering of energy that is yours in the past. They cannot tell you really when. They can tell you what you're working on, what has been completed, what's beautiful about the cycle of the ones and the nines for you, and the freedom perhaps of karmic energy that you have now. And the Akash will be read like a book when it comes to that. And the numbers are obvious. It's also known for carrying past karmic energy. It's known for also prodding you to do other things. Sometimes the Akash gets in the way because there's unfinished energy. Things you have to dismiss, become unafraid of, learn from. That's all part of the past record brought forward to you today. There are those who carry biases, tremendous biases you're not even aware of. They're intrinsic. They're in you. They're in your DNA because of what happened to you last time or the time before, the time before. Remember, you shift in gender and race. You're everyone. So many things have happened to you you're not even aware of that you carry, and today something will happen and there'll be this knee-jerk reaction. A thought will occur and you'll say, where did that come from? Or perhaps you don't even care. You simply react. There are still so many of you who won't go near the water. Too many drownings have an impact. The fear of this and that and this and that carries through the Akash into today. And so much of what you're learning now, old soul, is how to work with it and dismiss it. But then, in the last 2, 3, 4 years, we've started talking about using the Akash differently. Use it as a storehouse of knowledge that you can pick from. What is it you used to have that you would like now? What about health? What about a longer life? You earned it. It's in your Akash. All of these things we talk about, the lack of fear, self-worth, courage, it's all in there. You've had it all. And we've talked about this. Can you go get it? Can you work on it? And the answer is yes. And you ask how? And we say the catalyst is your innate. That which is connected to your higher self will start to work with you to give you the things you need that you earned that are already there in your Akash. Now that's new. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. The system of the Akash is energy-driven, not time-driven. But it is an energy of what happened. Therefore, there is something we have never mentioned in public channel before. And it's called the Akashic template. Let me explain it this way. The system that you have is built to help you. Your Akash is present to help you. It is a benevolent system to push you and pull you away from the fears you've had, to present things that you have to solve, to have completion in your life as an old soul, to move forward with self-worth. And the past is involved because it's in your DNA. It won't go away. You can't delete it. But you can solve it. You can use consciousness to dismiss it. You can throw away your karma, which we've told you 26 years ago to do. You can get into a state with your higher self that your Akash will then agree with. You can start to rewrite the things that bothered you. But that's not what I want to talk about. The template is something that has happened over and over and over, and in total benevolence, this template is then applied to each life to help the next one. But the template is based on old energy. Old souls all carry an old template. New souls on the planet will not past 2017. The very Akashic template of a newborn will start to shift. The newborns will not necessarily carry an old energy into this life, because the transition of the shift is over. The year of the 9 has been completed. The 1 year is here, and the template begins to change. Now let's stop talking about the newborn for a moment and talk about the old soul and what the template may mean and what it is doing, because you're going to be surprised. What is it a human being has? Lifetime after lifetime, expression after expression. You are culturally allied to the template and lifespan. How old do you get before you die? When does aging set in? And you might say, wait a minute, that's not benevolent. What if I told you it was, dear ones, in an old system that has you Die and come back quickly so that you can continue a beautiful, beautiful system. That if you lasted too long, if you were here too far, you would miss out on coming back quickly. What if I told you that the template actually is alive and well in you, that is still working on an old assumption that you've got to leave this planet in order to come back with new information that we talk about? Dear ones, that is the old system. It's a system of old souls. You leave the planet and you come back and you continue while you're young. You pick up the wisdom and you continue. Now, some of you are starting to draw the picture already. In this new energy, you're going to last a lot longer. The very consciousness that is promoted by the shift is going to have the ability to solve health problems, consciousness problems, self-worth problems. You won't be dying of broken hearts. You won't be dying because you're desperate or you don't believe in yourself. And that's all part of the old template. That when you get into that scenario, you leave the planet and you come back so you can continue. But suddenly, that's not the way it is. You start to pick up things from the old Akash. It keeps you alive longer and healthier. You're able to share more. You're able to have mastery in your old age. The old 60 is 80. And you move forward. You have no idea how long you're built to live, dear ones, with the DNA that you have. We've said it before. 100 years, way too short. The human body is built to live hundreds of years. It self-replicates. It repairs. It keeps going. But in an old energy, it does it badly. In a new energy, it won't. And yet you're sitting there with an old template that is designed to kill you. How do you like it so far? I want to give you some wonderful news. You're in charge of your template. Totally and completely, as it should be. If you're one who simply looks down at your body and says, "Hi, body, I hope you last," it won't. It'll just do what it wants. But if you understand you're the boss and you're in charge of all your cells, that your DNA responds to the boss, the consciousness is everything. That is the system. The young people starting to be born on this planet right now will understand that better than any of you. They will last longer. They'll understand they're in charge intuitively without ever having a Kryon book. It will simply be in their innate. And their template will be responding to this new energy that they carry. Meanwhile, you've got to rewrite yours. It will respond, it will respond, it will respond. How do I say this to you? Some of you and some listening to this have this overwhelming feeling of how long you're going to live, and it's not going to be that long. When you're going to shut down, what diseases you're going to catch, and when it's all happening, because the template is the old one. Dear ones, it is not necessary for you to terminate to continue. It is not necessary for you to terminate to continue. It is not necessary to terminate to continue. It just isn't. It isn't. And all you have to do is start affirming that to the template. Talk to it. Dear cellular structure, I am here for the duration. And nothing in the past will determine the future of me. I will last as long as I should. In all appropriateness, I'll decide when it's time to go. Not the old template. Because I'm going to live longer and accomplish more because of it. I am an old soul. That's the information. And the controversy of it is there will be howls from those who say, no, no, no. No, the spirituality is the spirituality. It's always the same, always will be the same. God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Not understanding. It's not God you're talking about, it's humans. The relationship to God is not the same forever. It's new. Real new. Oh, you're so enabled and you don't know it. What news could be better than this? Internally, spiritually, you are in control of the system. And it will not be in control of you. I want you to think of that when you face the doctor and he says something you don't like. And you can just smile and know better. The doctor may be correct completely based upon the past, but not what you know about the future. Blessed are the humans who understand this fully right now, who know what I speak of, who are ready to make a shift of consciousness, one that starts to define who they are instead of letting the past define who they are. And the beauty of this is this template of yours will respond, understand, know, and start to help you. It's not necessary to terminate at this time like you did before. Kryon, I don't fully understand what you're talking about. You will. When it's time to make the decision to stay. This is your legacy. This is why you came. This is the shift. Change is at hand. And so it is. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive. Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. Reaching the end of the day in a workshop is different than other times, for you've gotten to know one another. You've discussed perhaps some of the issues that you have. There's more coherence. That word alone means a connection. And whether it's a connection between those parts of your body or whether it's a connection between individuals, you can feel it. It's easier if you feel it than if you define it. Coherence is when you start to understand that there's an energy in the room. The energy loves each of you. The connection is complete when you start to visualize the silver strands of love and compassion of creation that go between each of you and make a puzzle complete. There was a day when my partner started to channel, and he was learning. And he saw others channeling. He didn't know which method was correct or what to do. He sat in the chair, and he shut his eyes like he saw many do in meditation. That was the beginning. Not much took place out of the ordinary until he started doing it in front of larger groups. And energy started to develop around the group, not my partner. As the group developed coherence together, the coherence was the connection between them. And that which was the creative source, the source of the connection. And that is when my partner decided to open his eyes. He never did it again. It distracted him. It interrupted the channel. It broke the connection for him because what he saw, he was not prepared for. He saw light going between people. He saw colors around people. He saw the process of coherence, compassion, connection, love, whatever you want to say. It was too much. My partner says he's not a seer. He does not see energy. But while he is channeling, he does. And he would never open his eyes again because the channeling was interrupted. It was stopped. Because what he saw as a human being, he could not conceive of. It did not relate. It did not compute. And for a few moments, there was even fear. What he got to see was divinity between you. I want you to feel what he saw. And in the feeling of this, a little teaching. The difference truly between an older consciousness and a newer consciousness, between a time of darkness and light, between that what was before 2012 and now, that is palatable for some of you. And there's a big difference. And part of it is what you are experiencing in the room. Coherence between individuals is much easier when you drop the barriers and try to feel and see God in each other. Can you sit next to a stranger and know absolutely that you're connected? You're connected because souls are big. They overlap one another. The energy is something that is collective. And you start to feel one another, even though you don't know each other. The difference between the old and the new, dear ones, is that there is far more coherence between you and the central source. And what this means is the old energy has you alone, working your puzzle alone, trying to figure out what you are supposed to do. A new energy in the light starts to give you a sense of coherence with everything around you, the puzzle around you, the people around you, and you get feedback. And in the old energy, you were not even sure. You didn't know. You questioned. You weren't certain. In the new energy, I'll give you a hint. We talk to you. We talk to you in situations. We talk to you in so many ways. And those who are in the old energy and used to the old energy are still perplexed. You don't understand what we're saying. So I want to talk about timing. Each and every one of you in the room listening is part of a grand puzzle between human beings on this puzzle, on this earth. Now, light workers, meaning old souls, you have a more complex puzzle than most. For you are awakening and cognizing the fact that there is more light than there was before, and you, of all human beings, know how to use it. You've been working the puzzle of light and dark for eons. The earth has an expanding population. That should tell you, where are the new souls coming from? They're coming from a pool of souls that haven't been here. And so that leaves you, who have, to guide the ones that have not. And you're not going to give them a course. What you're going to give them instead is coherence, love, compassion, understanding. But I want to talk about timing. You're unique. Each one of you, old souls, again, has a complete and separate path. What are you doing with your life right now? If you go around the room, if you sample who's listening, they'll all have a separate story. And so how can we give teaching instructions about how you're supposed to know if you're in the right place at the right time? Especially those of you who have a compelling feeling you're supposed to be doing something. So let's address that compelling feeling. It doesn't matter what the something is, dear ones, because it leads you into balance, or helping others, or helping yourself, or an exposition of the light that you carry. Almost all of you ask the question, whether it's how to discipline your child or whether it's how to write a book. These are the issues that make the difference in life, because you care, because you're asking Spirit, because you're asking other light workers, because you sit in the room or listen to the channel. There are so many projects and puzzles and issues. Let's address the projects. In an old energy, I give you a metaphor. You got a ticket to ride the train. Now that's a metaphor for you being given a push to do something. Now we have said this many times. The push creates a habit. The habit is what you've had from all authority since time has begun. When your father tells you to clean up your room, when does he mean clean up your room? And so the knee-jerk reaction to the push from Spirit to create something or do something which comes through intuition, the result is do it now. And so you push yourself. That is an old energy aspect, and we have displayed it, expanded on it, and taught it for years. It's time for a new metaphor. You're given the ticket to the train. And then you're put in a box. In an old energy, the box was this: I don't know if the train is here. When is the train coming? The train could be outside waiting for me. I'm going to miss the train. So I'm going to start right now. I'm going to be prepared. That push said I should do something. I've got the information. I know it's right. I got to write the book. I got to go over here. I got to start the healing center. I got to buy the land. I got to talk to this person or something. I've got to connect. That's the train. And you're in the box. You have no idea. And so you push yourself. And the result is you do it completely and totally out of timing. Come out of the box and you realize it didn't work. Then you start blaming yourself. You don't know where the train came and went. You missed the train. Of course, that's human nature. If the train isn't there, you missed it. You never said, well, it hasn't come yet. Now let me expose the new energy. You get the ticket and you're not put in a box because now the track is illuminated. And so you stand with the ticket and you wait for the train. Or do you? If the train is not on the track, that is a perfect signal in the daylight to say it's not ready yet. You're not getting on a train that isn't there. Are you getting this? When the train arrives, you get on it. And you begin the project. You finish it. You work on it. If the train isn't on the track, it means it's not time yet. Even if you have scheduled a time for your own project when you think you can, or when you should, or whether it's convenient, or whether it's efficient, it doesn't matter if the train isn't there. So in the new energy, the operative word is see the track, see that it's a signal to you, you're getting feedback, it's not ready. You're not in the box worrying, wondering. You're right outside looking at the track. And if the train isn't there, that means be patient. Schedule another time. Wait a bit. Because it's coming. Look, you got the ticket. The ticket is the intuition you're supposed to do this. But now in this new energy, there is a beautiful thing to say to you, that you're out of the box looking at the track. Don't pull the old paradigms into the light that says you don't know, or it's not working, or you're stuck. No, you're not. The train isn't there. Simple. And then you're going to say, well, when is it coming? You know it's coming when the puzzle starts to be complete, when the things around you are moving so it's going to work. You don't want to start something that's going to fall on its face because others aren't ready, or because the information is not complete. You don't want to start that. That's old energy things. You've all done that, dear ones, all of you. You've made it happen too soon. You've jumped the gun, as they say, because you were in the box. You didn't know. You got information and acted on it. That's what humans do. But suddenly, an old soul with wisdom will get the intuition and go, I love this information. The train isn't here yet. Dear Spirit, when the timing is right, show me. Dear Spirit, when the train has arrived, make it clear to me. That is when I will perform. That's when I'll act. And that's when everything's going to come to me that should come to me. Instead of me pushing and worrying and saying, why am I stuck? Am I getting through? It's beautiful. The light is here. to show when the train is coming. Rearrange your schedule. To coordinate with the messages that are being given to you so clearly. Don't interpret the messages incorrectly. See them for what they are. This is new. There is guidance here in the way things are working or not working for you. And if you push and they don't work, stop and wait until the train arrives. There has never been a time like this where the clarity of your movement is being targeted to you in this way. But so many of you listening to this are not understanding it. And now is the opportunity for you to clear the boards, cognize what I am telling you, and accept this marvelous light from Spirit that wants to guide you to the right place, take you out of the box, and make you understand that situations that you encounter are not situations that are accidental. They're giving you a message. Go, stop, wait. Never before has it been so clear. But again, in the old energy, you just thought you were stuck. So I want you to proceed from this point on with this information. Spirit is connected to you by a beautiful silver thread. All of you. And this silver thread, this metaphor, can never be broken. Whether you choose to see and use the thread is your free choice. But when you see it and you grab a hold of it, that's when the communication starts. And because it's connected to all of you, that's when you start to get simultaneous messages collectively that pull you together in coherence. To try to make things happen and will happen that haven't happened before on this planet. When the coherence between humanity reaches even a marginal point, there will be peace on earth. For the coherence is the agreement of compassion between all humanity that you will never kill each other again by design. That is wisdom, and that comes from the light, which is going to be yours. I'm going to say this, do not misinterpret it. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You have only begun this process. So you may see things on the planet you don't understand. But know this, that this light which is coming out is going to shake up everything. And the planet is not as it used to be, will not necessarily react as it used to. But you've got to go through these gyrations in order to know what you want and what you don't. And there are not enough yet old souls on board to make it necessarily smooth. So why don't you come on board? If you're hearing this and understand that an awakening to the light is an awakening to a longer life. It's an awakening to less anxiety and more solutions. It's an awakening to the silver thread that connects you with all humanity and the creative source, and always has. Look to the indigenous and the ancients for what they believed, what they know, and how they lived. For they honored their ancestors, which is another way of saying the wisdom that was learned before was applied to them. They honored the earth, which is to say they understood the connection between Gaia and humanity. They breathed the air that Gaia gave them and said thank you. And there was an alliance between them and all things that created something that lasted and lasted and lasted. Let this connection begin again with modern society. Let the light come out so that you will understand the signals from Spirit to go, to come, to be. What if I told you that the ancients actually had those signals? And they saw them in the animals, in the sky, in the stars, and the planet. They planned on them. They believed in them. I'll tell you, the creative source gave them what they asked for. And that's how they guided their lives. You lost it completely. Now it's time not to do what they did in that way, but to trust your intuition, ask for the guidance, know when the train is there. A return to what the ancients practiced and knew that was in general what is available today. I hope some of you leave this room differently than you came. Those listening, perhaps, can breathe a sigh of relief that nothing is wrong in their lives. You've got a beautiful ticket, some of you. And this beautiful ticket, intuition, says you've got this talent. You can put this together. You can do these things. But not yet. There'll come a time. It's going to be so obvious. You meet the right people, the right conditions show up. And you got to smile at that point and says, "Dear Spirit, here's my ticket." Believe it. Breathe easy, and you are known by God. And so it is. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive. Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. There is so much sacredness here. And the sacredness is generated by the intent of those in the chairs. Anytime a human being will gather with another human being and say, "I'm here for one reason, I want to know more." I've heard some wild stories of perhaps things that are beyond my understanding that might change my life, might enhance those things that I would love to enhance. That's why I'm in a chair. And this creates a field in itself. Perhaps there are those of you who could feel that and have felt that and did feel that this morning when you walked in the room. Because of the numbers that are here, there is a field that is generated with intent that is so sacred and so beautiful. And it's seen. Oh, it's seen. You may have heard the premise that when you have a number of people gathered together, that there is enhanced not just abilities and power, but light itself. And with the intent that we are speaking of, it creates a field of light. Now we speak metaphorically, but consciousness truly is a part of the physics that you study today. Is it too much to imagine that intent could be seen multidimensionally? It might even have a color, dear ones. You're very attractive when you're here with intent like this. There are so many different kinds of intent, even here in the room. Even those listening. There's casual intent, I think I'll take a listen. There's intent that wants to cognize everything that is said. I want to know more because everything you've said, Kryon, has either taken place or is happening or is going to happen, and I'm on board. And between those kinds of intent, there's all the shades in between. And dear ones, all of them are appropriate. The one who simply wants to take a look is doing so with free choice. You may take a look and leave and never come back. But in that crack that you took a look, you got to see and feel the idea that you're sacred. And those who wish to cognize what is here and what is coming may enjoy the channel tonight. We told you in the channel before that the title would be this: who do you think you are? Now that's an expression that humans would often use as an accusation. But the question in the form of the channel tonight is real. And the reason it's being asked at all, right now, the reason, you'll see in a moment. Because who you think you are shapes everything to come. Everything. Let's start this way. Let's start with the objections that some light workers have had about some of the concepts I have presented. And the objections are these: they don't work. Dear Kryon, I've heard you talk for now 20 years, and you've said you must speak to yourselves. You talk to your structure, it's listening. And I have. I've got this issue, and I've been working on it, and I talk to myself, and nothing happens. I've only one thing to conclude: doesn't work. Dear Kryon, I've heard you talk about compassion as being the key to changing those around me, to changing myself, to all of these things. I've tried so hard to be compassionate. Doesn't work. Just doesn't work. Have you got something else? Dear Kryon, I've heard you speak of God inside. I don't think so. Certainly isn't in my life. I'd like it to be. I really would like it to be. I listen to you and I'd like it to be. But then you finish and nothing's there. I'm about to expose you, oh, ones who would ask the questions. And I ask you, who do you think you are? If you had to draw a list of who you think you are, what's it look like, dear human being? And I will start the list for you. And it's fraught with bias, misunderstanding, disbelief, ignorance, and more. And you don't know it. You don't even know it. It goes like this. Who do you think you are? Okay, I'm male, I'm female, I'm so many years old. Stop. You are, really. That's how old you are. I see you wrote that down in big letters. That's how old you are. So let's discuss age for a moment. What comes with the statement, how old you are? And I'll tell you, a tremendous bias. Right away, you are acting out how old you're supposed to be based upon information that was given to you about others that age. You realize that, don't you? So however old you are, first of all, you're older than you used to be, and you don't like that. That's a bias in itself. Aging is a bias. If you don't like it, it's a bias. You think living for 900 years was a typo in Scripture? Or was it true? How did they do that? And I'll tell you, they never said, I am so many years old. Because age meant nothing. They exist. In a body, year after year, that will age, if you even want to use the word, on its own schedule. But if you are biased enough to put limits on it, you'll go right to the place where medicine says you ought to be. That is one of the biggest biases you have. Who do you think you are? Stop telling people how old you are. Do you realize what this carries with it? If any of you watch your media, have you watched the ads of how you're supposed to feel at a certain age? And what drugs you're supposed to take at a certain age because of how you're supposed to feel at a certain age? It's programming. You are programmed to age poorly. And I just said it. This doesn't simply come from media. It comes from your parents. It comes from school. It comes from society. If you didn't have a stigma on how old you were, would your chemistry be different? Bingo. Yes. Because consciousness is guiding cellular structure. How you believe is being absorbed by your body and acted upon. I'll say it again. You show up at the restaurant called life, and the menu is there, and you give an order. And then you start aging poorly. Dear ones, your food has arrived. You just ordered it, and here it is. It's as simple as that. It's on the menu, and you ordered it. And so you seem to feel a certain way because you have a certain age. Perhaps you have been told aging is a bad thing. So you continually look into the mirror to see if it's a bad thing. And your body knows what you're looking for and cooperates. It's a bad thing. Who do you think you are? Number one, I'm an ageless human being existing on this planet magnificently. I'm an ageless human being existing on this planet magnificently. And my body hears every single word I'm saying. And my cellular structure is clueless on how old I am. So don't give me a birthday party with candles, because we're not counting. I can't tell you how much that would do for you. Who do you think you are? Well, Kryon, I have a genealogy that doesn't really work for me. You see, here's what's happened in my family. Stop. You have just now told your body that any predispositions it might have with genealogy that is inherited is going to manifest. Period. That's what you told your body. And here it comes. Did you know what has been proven? Your genealogy is not in charge. Oh, it will come with inheritance. It will come with perhaps what you will call predispositions. Now, predispositions are there. They may even manifest. But dear ones, that's only if nothing happens around them. The cells of your body are designed to listen to the boss. The cells of your body are designed to listen to the boss. They are ready to be programmed. And the consciousness that you give them is the programming they will respond to better than anything else on the planet. You can program yourself out of any inheritance. Did you know that? Just like you can program your age, and the amount that you age is programmable. The amount of energy you have is programmable. And the programming to your cells comes from that which we call intent. There it is again. Consciousness, intent, can program a human being so that they can last longer, not be attracted to disease, come through life in a way that is spectacular in its peacefulness and its beauty and its elegance, instead of having to suffer through it. Number 3, you don't know what's happened to me, Kryon. No, but you just told your body that whatever's happened is just awful. And that just means that whatever happens is going to age you, and it's going to make you a victim. You programmed yourself to be a victim. And if you didn't, others have. And it just depends upon who you listen to about who is God, what the relationship is, or whether you were born dirty or magnificent, programmed to suffer. Who do you think you are? Well, so far, you're aging badly, your genealogy is horrible, and you're a victim. Who do you think you are? That's who you think you are. I could go on and on. But here's what I want to show you. If that's who you are, how do you think that one thing that you're going to change is then going to correct everything? So the ones who say, well, that doesn't work, Kryon, give me something better, have already decided who they are. And they're used to a system that is linear. You may call it allopathic, it's not the right word. A system that is linear says this: no matter who you are, no matter what you've suffered, no matter what your genealogy, if you take a pill, it will help. It doesn't matter who you are, what you've done, it's going to help. And of course, you may have to take it again and again, but you get help. That's not this way. It's not the way it works, dear ones. Not with spirituality. The truth is this: how you think you are and what you believe you are is the precursor to all of the things I teach working. Did I say that correctly? You've got to change your belief before any of these things are going to come to fruition in your life. If you're going to talk to yourselves, you can't give me a list that says, here's who I am. Now I'm going to talk to myself and it's going to change everything. You've got to start at the beginning. And the beauty of this teaching is this: once you start to cognize the fact that you are magnificent in the eyes of God, of nature, you belong here, everything starts to snap in place. Because truth has that about it. It rings in your body. The cellular structures will, if they could talk, they will say, well, it's about time. What do you have for us today? What's your order today? What's on the menu today? How about health and peace and you name it? What about a system where the years don't matter? That there's no stigma anymore. That your body has to do something at a certain time because you've assigned numbers to it. This is not true. It isn't. And so in this channel, the beauty of the message is this: that when you begin to realize who you are, things start to chain react and they affect others' things in benevolent ways. It's almost like the truth rings in your cellular structure to such a degree, in such a way, the strings on a guitar, for instance, that are tuned together, and you pluck one and the vibration affects the other, and it comes into tune and affects the other, and it starts to vibrate and come into tune. And soon the body gets it. And then all the things you've been telling each string for all these years and all these points, 1, 2, 3, 4, they start to drop away. And you start to realize that just wasn't right. That wasn't right. Here's something we brought up before. This is important, dear ones. It has to do with the integrity of knowledge. This is important. Some of the most profound things you may have learned from your instructors, from your priests, through your shamans, are now starting to drop away in their accuracy. And in that, you feel you will betray them if you cross over to a new truth. That is very real. And you will say, well, but my parents gave me this. And it's what I believe. The mom and dad, they gave me the best they could. It's what I believe. I really loved this pastor I had, and he was just the best man. He's gone now, but I'll always remember what he told me. And that's the way I live my life right now. And suddenly we come along with a whole different idea that goes beyond any of that. And many won't move off that peg because of this. The integrity of the people that you loved who gave you truths that now are starting to slip away. And how do you get through that? Well, there are several ways. Number one, if they're deceased, they now know better. They're here, they're cheering you on. But number two, in your memory, they were giving you in full integrity the best they had. The best they had. And there's nothing wrong with that. If they had what you know today, do you think that they would give that to you? They would. So there's nothing shameful at all or betraying about moving forward and accepting a bigger truth. You control your biology. You control not only how you age and how fast you age, but what happens chemistry as you age. This is so important because part of the scenario is how disease would attach itself to you. I've told you before that as human consciousness starts to evolve to a higher level, it will change the entire body. Because all of your cells are receptors and listening for instructions. And a higher consciousness will give higher kinds of instructions. And in that, eventually, there will be a body that will not accept disease because it's smarter than it used to be. You all understand that you have something called the smart body. And again, I'm going to give you the example of how consciousness works, like homeopathy. You accept homeopathy. Interesting, isn't it, that the fact that this country doesn't have much homeopathy is political. And it's not what you think. It doesn't really have to do with your medicine. It has to do with what happened with the English. When you became Americans and won that war, by the way, you did, you threw away everything European. You threw away their accent, you threw away their medicine, you threw away their religion. You didn't want anything to do with the Church of England. On and on. And part of that was homeopathy. And today when you go to Europe, it's everywhere. And here, it's nowhere. Let's talk about that. Not the fact that it's anywhere you want to find it, dear ones, in your country, you can find it. But the idea of it, it's a conceptual idea that works with the body. Again, we tell you this. Listen to this and understand the logic. A tincture is a design of a minuscule chemical that would send a signal to the body of what the one using the tincture is asking for in healing or peace. Not limited only to chemistry. And the science will look at the tincture and say it's too small for a chemical reaction anywhere, anytime. It's simply too small. Therefore, it cannot do anything chemically. And they're right. They're right. And yet it works. So here is the answer to why it works and the truth about it, which will tie right into the theme of who do you think you are? A tincture under the tongue is an instruction set that's designed that under the tongue, sublingually, the body receives and acts on. Did you get that? So no chemical reaction. It is an instruction set, elegantly designed as that which is instructions to the body on what to do. And then the body does it. And homeopathy works. All right, turn the page. I've just shown you something. I've just shown you proof. The body is listening. The cells want instructions. And you can do it several ways. And one of them, proven, is homeopathy. And the other one is with consciousness. What about consciousness elegantly designed through words that you would say or thoughts that you would generate when you answer the questions, who do you think you are? Because the body receives the instructions that you give it through everyday life. Are you a victim or not? What's your genealogy like? How old are you? I tied this into this morning when I said, I want you to forget everything you were told. Everything that would then posture who you think you are. And start over. You want to write a list? Do it. Read it out loud? Do it. Let the body hear it? Do it. I am an ageless human, magnificent, here on purpose to create light. My genealogy is controllable and programmable. And I give it instructions daily. And you go on from there. The things that happen in my life, I have brought to myself. And now, in that I understand it, I will no longer bring negative things into my life. What are your weaknesses? Don't list them. I am afraid of this or that. And instead, you will say the opposite. These are things that used to bother me, which I have conquered. And your body hears it and sees it. And they are simple things. They're habits that you can cure instantly. As easy as my partner did with being seasick all of his life. And in one session, he was no longer. Dear ones, this is the power you have. And it's not simply about ridding yourself of some awful disease. It's everyday life. One of the attributes you might say, I get angry easily. If you said that and you think that's you, you will get angry easily. I have buttons that people press when they talk about religion and politics. My mother bothers me. I have trouble with my family. And the body hears it all. That's who I am. Who do you think you are? That's who I am. And you think you can come to a meeting and hear something about how to correct this or that and try it and it's going to work? It isn't. Until you start knowing who you are. Coming along with the program shouldn't shock you. Truth is beautiful. You're none of those things you thought you were. The idea of having trouble with this person or that person is reprogrammable. Honestly, I want you to try it. We've said this over and over. To walk into the cauldron of drama that used to bother you with a new attitude and watch what happens when you tell your body, these things are not going to bother me or hurt me. I'm going to have peace and I'm going to see God in those people. That's what I'm going to do. And it takes practice, doesn't it? But it works. Have any of you noticed that when you start doing that, the people that bother you leave? Because they're not getting the reaction anymore. If they can't leave because they're related, they stop bothering you. Because they're not getting the reaction anymore. You've disconnected the button. And so you can stand there and start erasing the things on your list. This person bothers me. I can't do this. I can't do that. And pretty soon you see you have a clean slate of magnificence. And you start to realize, I'm in control. I really am in control. And then you can start talking to yourselves, and then you can start doing the things that we have told you about over and over that work, and they work, and they work. But you can't just walk in as a victim with diseases, knowing their genealogy is awful, aging badly, and expect to plug in these things and have a miracle. Is that offensive to you? Or does it make sense? The biggest one, I said 4 times already. I am born magnificent. I'm here on purpose. I'm here for a reason. I can manufacture light. If there are enough like me on this planet, we'll all manufacture light. And the whole planet is going to change. What about that? Maybe you came here today to hear that. Who do you think you are? I am talking to old souls who can do everything I've said. You've been here and you've done that. You have an Akash that is filled with wisdom of how things work. What I've just given you is not pablum for the soul. It's advanced. But I'm talking to those who I should be talking to, who know of what I speak. I'm in Kryon in love with humanity. And so it is.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. I wish to continue the theme of love. I want to give you an idea of something so simple, yet so powerful. And within the explanation, to show you how some of the older paradigms of the planet might have to be broken in order for the simplicity to come through. What if I told you that you have overcomplicated God? This comes, dear ones, from the humanism idea that grand things must be complicated. The old paradigm of human perception is filled with old consciousness and old ideas and old ways. Good for their time, working for their time, but it doesn't mean that you have to pull them in to something that is brand new. We've spoken of the energy which is new. It's not the energy necessarily, dear ones, it's the paradigm of reality, of what is today as opposed to what was yesterday. And here's how it goes. I've heard people say, Kryon, we listen to you. We like what you have to say, and we're starting to apply some of it. However, we need to know something. What is your belief system? What are you teaching? And what I would say back to that is there is no system. And the human would say there must be. For when you look around the planet, all of those who believe in the creative source have some kind of structure. And in that structure there are rules. And in the rules, therefore, are the right and wrong ways to do things that would then enhance the worship or the knowledge of the Creator. Kryon, in that, where do you fit? What do we tell our friends when we say we want them to hear Kryon and they say, well, what are the rules? What's the system? I want to ask you something. What if, just for a moment, follow this idea that you could pretend for just a moment that your soul could stand before the Creator of all things, all by itself, and suddenly the eyes of God were on you, and you could ask the question to the creative source, what is your system? There would be a smile and an overwhelming feeling of caring and compassion when the creative source said, there is no system, there is only love. And if you came back to the planet, you would say, you know, there is only love from the creative source. And the humans would say, well, yes, that's correct, but you are not God. You have to have a system. When a human falls in love with another human, in those first days, when it even affects your system, and you feel just a little crazy, and it's beautiful, that should tell you right then, if one of you asks the other one, well, let's stop for a moment and analyze the system. You don't, because there is no reason, because love is pure and complete. And if it's true love, it lasts a very long time because of those attributes. If you walk into nature, dear ones, in the middle of the trees and the forests, and you said to the trees, what is the system of nature? The trees would smile at you and say, there is no system. And you would say, well, certainly there is. Look at all of the things that go into making you exist, and you've got to relate to it all. And the trees would say, you see, we relate to it because it's a relationship. A tree will have a relationship with the dirt, with the insects and the birds and the sun, and with carbon dioxide and with oxygen. The relationship is what each tree has, and it's different from tree to tree. But overall, the relationship is about oneness with all things. The tree doesn't have a set of rules that tells it how to live, or where it can put its roots, or what is pleasing or not pleasing to a God that created the tree. And that is one of the reasons why you can walk into nature and feel so free, realizing that there is no system of do's and don'ts, because it is self-evident and common sense that the relationship takes care of all of it. There'll come a day when people will not ask you what box you're in anymore. And you say, the relationship is good enough. And so I answer, what is the system? No system. It's called love. Because love and that relationship you would have with the Creator itself contains absolutely everything you'd ever need to know. When you have love and compassion, the rules, if you want to call them the rules, are self-evident and common sense on how you treat the one next to you, the ones that you meet that you don't know. The attitude of life that you would have walking into strange places. It changes the way you think about luck, if you even want to use the word. It starts to make you understand that the relationship to the Creator is a design that you create as well. And where you walk, you create love. This is simpler, dear ones, than a set of rules that you have to adhere to. Do you really think that the Creator of the universe cares what you wear? And there are those who do. Because in an old energy they have created human rules with human ideas and human perceptions, thinking that these are what God would have. And in a new energy on this planet that is starting to appear, all by itself because of what you've done, and this shift starts to become self-evident, more and more will turn away from a system, a belief, and instead intertwine themselves in the beautiful relationship of love. We have said so many times that the word love to you has so many meanings and it only goes so far, but I will say to you that it is endless and it's enormous. It's more beautiful than anything you can even begin to imagine. The light of 1,000 suns is a drop in the bucket to the light of the love of the Creator. And in that, I tell you also that your soul carries all of it. When the prophet Elijah walked into the field, he was going to ascend, and he knew that. And the ascension of Elijah is a metaphor for who humans are. Ascension meant that he was going to leave his corporal body, that body that he has, corporeal in nature, and it would vanish, and he would then become the soul that walks the earth, just like you. And he knew what was going to happen, and so he had his understudy, Elisha, write it down. Don't miss a thing, he said. Tell everything you see. And Elisha saw so many metaphors and so many things written so carefully in Scripture. But the biggest thing he saw was this, that Elijah turned into the light of 1,000 suns. Too bright to look at, unbelievable to any human being that there could be a light that bright. That was Elisha's soul. And dear ones, it's just like yours. It is pure, without rules, without systems. Because love is self-evident in its compassion, and it tells the story through its intuition of how you would live and receive and give to every other human or living thing on the planet. It's so beautiful and elegant in its instructions, so intuitive, that the proof is this, is that when you meet someone else who has that love, you meet them eye to eye and you see them as family. Because you both understand exactly what I'm talking about. This is not the new age, dear ones. But that was the name given to something before that had rules. It bothers many that the believers here in this room would not have a prophet or a place to go to with a name or a set of rules or a denomination. And they would be seen as floaters without a home and without a center. And dear ones, that is the perception of an old energy that needed to be grounded in rules, in beliefs, that put a veil before God. Blessed is the human being who understands this and strips away all of that, if even for a moment to test it and say, is love enough? And the answer will always be more than enough. This is the message we will continue to give on this planet that continues to change with new paradigms that become self-evident. And so it is.